Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. So the founder of Tailwind Labs, the company behind Tailwind CSS, recently announced in a GitHub thread they had to lay off 75% of their employees. That is, every 3 out of 4 employees in their company had to be laid off due to the impact of AI. Now here is the interesting thing. Tailwind CSS is a very popular open source project. In fact, it is used by millions of developers across the globe. Now, despite the popularity, why they had to lay off a large number of employees in their company? This triggered a buzz in the open source market. In today's video, let's try to understand the reason behind the layoffs, and also let's try to understand if other companies will also have similar impact by AI. So this is a very interesting discussion. Make sure you watch it till the end. Now, first of all, to set the context, let's understand what is Tailwind Labs. So Tailwind Labs is a company that open sourced the very popular Tailwind CSS project. Now, if you are a web developer, you must already know what is Tailwind CSS. Let's say you are not a web developer. Very simple. Now, whenever you develop a website, you need user interface for your website. Let's say you're developing an e-commerce project. You need user interface. Now, within the user interface, to make the user interface rich, you must use some styling. And that styling is provided by CSS. Let's say you want a cool login page, or you want a cool 404 error message page, and you want some cool styling for your other parts of website. You can get that using CSS. Now, Tailwind Labs created a framework called Tailwind CSS. They open sourced it so that anybody can use their CSS. They have some very interesting components. They have ready to build components. So developers can use that within their websites and they can make their website live. Most interestingly, everything is free because it's an open source project. So this is about Tailwind Labs. Now let's look at the GitHub thread that triggered this entire conversation, where the founder announced they had to lay off 75% of the employees. So this is the pull request. Add llms.txt endpoint for LLM optimized documentation. I'll share the pull request link in the description. If you are interested, go through the complete discussion from different open source contributors and their point of views as well. Anyways, so someone created this pull request asking to make their documentation more readable for large language models. So large language models, they scrape information from different parts of the internet and they are trained on that documentation. So someone is asking to make Tailwind CSS documentation easy for LLMs to read, and see what the founder responded. This is definitely an interesting feature, but the reality is that 75% of the people on our engineering team lost their jobs here yesterday because of brutal AI impact that we had on our business. And further, the founder says, despite the popularity of the project, 40% of the traffic to their documentation went down. So basically, there were a lot of developers visiting their website before 2023, but after 2023, that's when ChatGPT came into picture, other AI assistants came into picture. From that time, even though millions of developers are using their project, but visits to their website went drastically down. Now, a lot of people think here maybe Tailwind is earning from ad revenue. Like if you go to any website, they run some ads on the website. So if you visit the website, they get paid using Google Ads. This is not the case here. Okay. So further, founder says, okay, so we had good development on the project. If you read this entire thing, the summary is that they are doing very well as the project, but they had to lay off 75% of the employees because 40% of the traffic to their website went down. Now, how did traffic impact their business? Very simple. So Tailwind runs a funnel, right? Every business runs some funnel to attract the customers. Now, Tailwind's lab funnel is that. So Tailwind, right? What they did, they created this project. They open source the project. Till now, it's fine. Now, how do this company earn the revenue? What they do is that if any people using their open source project, they like their project, of course, for any questions or to look at the CSS components, they visit the website of the Tailwind CSS. Within this website, they have an option for the plus subscription. Although their open source project is free, they have a plus subscription. So if anyone takes the plus subscription, they provide ready to use components. For example, you want to create login page for your e-commerce project. So if you take their premium subscription, that is the plus subscription, you can find e-commerce login page related component. So you don't have to write even a single piece of code. You can just copy the component, integrate it into your source code. So this was their actual funnel. So people use their open source project. They really like it. If they have any questions, they visit the website. And on the website, they also realize Tailwind offers something called Tailwind Plus. From there, they buy the components provided by Tailwind Plus, or they buy the subscription of the Plus. Now, what happened after 2023? This is a very interesting case study. Tailwind CSS popularity did not go down. In fact, their popularity raised by a lot of significant percentage. New developers also started using Tailwind CSS. But instead of going to the website, if they want to know how to install, or let's say how to use an open source component of Tailwind within the application, now they are not going to the website, but they are going to ChatGPT. The developers are going to ChatGPT and they are asking ChatGPT, give me the Tailwind CSS code for login component, or give me the Tailwind CSS code for improving a particular part of my website. Now what happens? They are getting everything from ChatGPT, and a lot of developers today and a lot of companies today are not even aware of the plus subscription of Tailwind. On top of that, ChatGPT and other AI assistants, they are so good that they are providing the components that are already part of the plus subscription. So they are actually providing ready to use complete components on, because they are trained on the Tailwind CSS documentation, right? Because they are trained on the documentation, they can think, they can create new UI components, and they are providing a lot of what they are providing in the plus subscription. So this is where their funnel broke. Now, obviously, if the funnel is broken, Tailwind as a company, they don't get the revenue. So they laid off 75% of the employees. This is what actually happened. Their popularity did not go down, but their revenue went down. Now you might ask, but Abhishek, this is a big problem. Then a lot of open source projects might be impacted. Not really. Tailwind's funnel is little different when you compare to other OSS projects. Take example of Kubernetes. Okay, so Google open sourced Kubernetes. Now Google sells GKE as a solution. Now what is the sale point for Google Cloud Engine? It's not the Kubernetes documentation, but the sale point here is managed Kubernetes. So what GKE says, you don't have to install your Kubernetes cluster. You don't have to manage the cluster. You don't have to take care of lot of Kubernetes components and backing up of your Kubernetes cluster. So here, the sale point is totally different. Now the OSS projects, which are based on this funnel, are definitely impacted. Unfortunately, there are a lot of such companies. Now there might be good news for Tailwind, after all this, because this became very viral on the internet, popular companies started sponsoring Tailwind. If you look at the sponsors of Tailwind, just go to the Tailwind official website. You can see companies like Cursor, companies like Bold.new, they all came up and they started sponsoring Tailwind. The good news is that they are AI providers. We don't see companies like ChatGPT yet, but I personally feel every company that is using, most importantly, the AI providers or AI assistants that are using Tailwind's documentation or open source documentation, and if they are making revenue out of it, they have to start sponsoring these open source projects or companies that have open source these projects. Otherwise, open source will be at risk. Good job by Cursor, good job by Bold.new, good job by Lovable, CodeRabbit. Now, these are companies that are earning money using AI. They are earning money by scraping resources on the internet. So it becomes their responsibility to fund these projects as well. Now, this is a very interesting case study. I hope you understood what exactly happened. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think Tailwind Labs could have done different instead of laying off their employees? Do you think they should come up with a license agreement where anybody using their documentation, they should pay, just like how Terraform changed their license? Should Tailwind come up with their own open source license? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. So that's all for today's video. I hope you learned something new today. See you all in the next video. Take care.